Thanks for all those just coming on and joining. If you're new here, hello, I'm Lizzie Daly. I'm your host for the Concert for Conservation this evening. This is a collaboration between Rainforest Trust and Reserva Youth Land Trust, who are fundraising for the Rainforest Trust to help protect 244 acres in the heart of the fantastic Ecuadorian Chocó forest. So we are in for an absolute treat because joining us for the second part, we have Lucy Cook. We also have a fantastic pianist who you will know, who's Emmy Award winning, Chris Bowers. And kicking off this evening, we have someone who I've known for a number of years. He is 26 years old. He is one of the most talented young wildlife filmmakers I have ever met. And he has worked on landmark BBC series, 7 Worlds, 1 Planet. He has his own 3 series on Nat Geo Wild called Wild_Life. He's recently won 2 Webby Awards for his first series of wildlife. I think I should stop talking and probably just bring him on instead. Everybody, Bertie Gregory. Live! We got some more donations, and on that previous video when Bertie was telling us very nicely, showing us those fantastic spectacles on those spectacle bears, we're going to get him back on just to tell us a little bit more about it, because he really has some pretty impressive stories from his time, and what an incredible start. Blinking hell, imagine a whole congregation of Andean bears in one place. Considering this rainforest, Chocó rainforest, is about 7 million acres wide, and there's about 2,000 of these Andean bears in the area, and he managed to not only spend time with them and find them, but seriously get an insight into their lives and their feeding behaviour, which is just fantastic. For everyone new joining, hello again, I'm Lizzie Daly, I'm your host, and yeah, we're going to get Bertie to start again if he is with us. I don't know why I keep doing this, maybe he's telepathically coming through my ear. So if someone can tell Bertie to jump back on, to try again, and hopefully we will hear more about his fantastic time spent there. If you don't already, I'm sure many of you do, but go and follow some of Bertie's fantastic posts on Instagram. He's posted quite a lot about the Andean bear, and he really gives us an insight into how much tough work it is to really kind of get some good footage of it, to see how it lives, because these bears are largely arboreal, meaning they're tree climbing, which means that, yeah, as Bertie was saying, that makes them particularly difficult to film, which I definitely want to hear more about, the pros and cons of that as well. Thank you all for joining back in. Hello. Bertie, what's happening?
We're having a bit of a shocker, aren't we?
You were literally in the middle of one of the best stories. Go on. We were talking about this fabulous tree.
So, spectacle bears, they're great. We're up to speed. So yeah, my friend Sarah found this amazing location where spectacle bears in this unique part of the Ecuadorian cloud forest, about every 18 months, congregated on this one patch of forest. And the reason they congregated there is because there's a tree called Nahuagatia, which has these little avocado-like fruits, like a mini avocado. And all the bears come from all the forests from miles around. And what's cool about that place was that, you know, Andean bears traditionally are so hard to find. Sorry, I've mixed up my terminology. Well, I haven't confused my terminology, but I've interchanged between spectacle bear and Andean bear. And the reason that's important is because really Andean bear is a better name. Spectacle bear is the reason, is because they look similar to a North American black bear, but some of them have these amazing spectacles around their eyes. And a bit like me at the moment, actually, I've got ridiculous white patches around my eyes. Yeah. And but the reason Andean bear is better is because some of the spectacle bears don't have spectacles, so we'll call them Andean bears. But anyway, I'm rambling. Traditionally, spectacle bears are really hard to find. You know, scientists that have spent, you know, their whole lives looking for spectacle bears, Andean bears, have just a handful of encounters. Now, this location presented a different opportunity where supposedly they congregated. The problem was, these trees fruit, well, roughly every 18 months, but it's pretty unpredictable. and we got a call just before Christmas that the fruit was starting to flower, which meant the fruit was on its way. The tree was starting to flower. So we just went. It was like 2 days before Christmas. I went out and yeah, we got there. And on the first day, saw 3 Andean bears. And I went 4 weeks, 5 weeks there, had bears every day, and one day I saw 10 Andean bears in one day, which 10 different Andean bears, which is completely unheard of. So
wow.
yeah, I was just wetting myself with excitement on a daily basis.
I was just saying, while you disappeared and went and had a drink, that
Sorry, yeah.
They're largely arboreal, right? So how do you go about filming them in that kind of habitat? It's so dense.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, we're in this thick cloud forest. It's thick mountainous jungle, hot, sweaty, steep, at elevation, out of breath. And interestingly, you actually go around and you really find them with your ears. They're climbing right to the top of these big, tall trees. And at the top of the trees, they eat all of the little avocados that they can reach easily. And then when they get to the branches at the end of sort of, more out on a limb, they have to start breaking the branches. And that makes a load of noise. So they break the branches with their teeth and then pull them to closer to the trunk where it's more stable. So yeah, we're just sort of tiptoeing around the forest, listening for these big cracks. And then you look up and there's a bear in the tree. So yeah, it's pretty bonkers.
Amazing. Yeah, and I'm guessing you need a drone to film them. I mean, you've filmed with drones all over the world, but did you fly it there?
Yeah, well, our primary camera was just a sort of the traditional method, a big long zoom lens on the end of a tripod. But part of the problem with that is that whilst it's very good for getting close-ups and details of them feeding, you're on the forest floor looking up at an animal in a tree, and generally you've got bright white sky behind them, so a black bear against white sky is just not good. So we try to use the elevation to our advantage and get at eye level with the bears, sort of get up a hill, so you get a green background. But even then, the thing that you're lacking is setting them in their environment. Andean bears live in a couple different habitats, but these bears were cool because they were in a thick cloud forest jungle. It's a really epic, like Avatar looking place. So really, to set them in the context, you've got to get in the air. So yeah, we used drones, and clearly drones have the potential to disturb animals. So our sort of our most important thing was making sure that we want to film natural behavior and we never want to disturb the animals. So it was all about finding the right individual, and getting it used to the drone. And yeah, we once we were in that situation, then the challenge was actually getting the drone above the canopy, because we were under the canopy. So we'd sort of wander along the path and be like, well, that little hole there is just about wide enough. And then we take off, zoom up through the canopy, and then film them when we try and get them when they're at the top of really big trees. Because at the top of the big trees, obviously they were then sort of above the rest of the forest, and so you could get bear on tree with just jungle covered mountains, and it was just
moment. That is absolutely incredible. What a rare opportunity. Hey, I could literally talk about this for hours. I have 2 questions for you. Firstly, do you have a didgeridoo, and where is it?
Didgeridoo. So I thought that the reason we were cutting out was maybe a bit of Instagram glitchiness, but maybe also because I wasn't sat right next to the Wi-Fi router. So I've actually changed rooms. So the didgeridoo's in another room. So you'll just have to use your imagination, but nothing on the musical talents of what everyone's seen already this evening.
We might lose donations anyway. Sorry, Bertie.
Yeah. You can do that in part 17 if anyone's still watching.
And obviously, this entire event is a fantastic youth-led event. I mean, young people have organised this entire concept for conservation. But I mean, what's your take on it, and why is it so important that young people are leading the way for conservation?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons it's particularly cool. One is that conservation issues often are really, really complex. And if an animal is suffering because of climate change or because of a really difficult human social issue where there's wildlife conflict, it's really challenging, and often it's difficult to find hope. Whereas in this case, it's pretty simple actually. What everyone's trying to do here is, you raise money so that Ecuadorians can buy a piece of Ecuadorian land and then employ locals to look after it. So humans are benefiting from employment, and the wildlife is benefiting. And it's that spot is why I'm particularly interested in it. It's got spectacle bears, and what's not to like about a bit of land with spectacle bears in it? And I think the other thing is, yeah, so there's the sort of I love that it's simple, it's tangible. If we donate to this, we know that an amazing piece of cloud forest is going to be looked after, and it's not just the charismatic animals like the spectacle bear. They are a flagship for the area. Key is that, by protecting the area, by protecting the flagship animal, you look after all the other species, in that amazing umbrella. And of all the places in the world, cloud forests have unbelievable species diversity. Just the number of different species is mind blasting. So yeah, hats off to everyone involved with this for sure.
Absolutely. You hit it here first. For the spectacle bear, Bertie said it way better than I could have ever have said it. We've had donations coming in as you've said this. We're now on $100, Bertie. 112! It's going up live. Perfect. Bertie, thank you so much. We can't wait to see more of your stuff, and thank you for supporting this. We'll see you soon.
Thanks a bunch. Have a good one.
Toodaloo! There he is, Bertie Gregory himself, powering through the technical issues, which we've had a few, but it doesn't matter because you guys have been absolutely fantastic.